This week's video is about confidence in midlife. It's something that comes up a great deal in my client work, whether that's with women in perimenopause or postmenopause, or just across the board really. People often say one of their main goals or hopes for therapy is to feel more confident in themselves. So I've been thinking a lot about that this week, and as a feature of midlife, how easy it is for us to lose our confidence. And I've thought a bit about why that might be, and came to the conclusion that, and I can only speak for myself, so I'm not trying to claim to know how everybody's confidence works, but here is my take on how we lose self-confidence in midlife. So I was thinking that throughout the first half of our life, we're learning the ropes. We know what feels good, we know what feels safe, we know what feels comfortable, and it's kind of familiar. Maybe we see the same people or live in the same place or work at the same company, or it's kind of often a period of stability and getting into our groove. And then midlife comes along, and with that lots of change. Lots of things change, don't they, internally, in terms of physical symptoms of menopause, or ailments or health conditions that can arise as we get older and our bodies start to age. So yeah, kind of comfortable, familiar, and then wham bam, changes start to happen. And that got me thinking about, okay, so but why is it so difficult to remain confident when things are changing? And I'm a bit of a word geek. I found out that confidence comes from the Latin with trust. It literally means with trust. And when I started to think about that, confidence as being able to trust something or someone, it helped me to break down a little bit where perhaps I'd gone awry in terms of being able to feel confident in myself. So if self-confidence is self-trust, then how do we start to build trust in someone or something? For me, reliability is a big thing. If something or someone is reliable, if I can depend on them to do what they say they're going to do, or to respond in a particular way, or to work, thinking about my car now. Yeah, that's a big one for me, in being able to trust something or someone. And when I think about being able to trust myself and being reliable for myself, it got me thinking about the promises that I make to myself and the things that I say that I'm going to do and often don't do. So here are a couple of questions for you. How often do you break a promise or let a friend or loved one down when you've said that you're going to do something with them? Probably not all that often. How often do you let yourself down when you promise yourself something or you say that you're going to do something? And it doesn't have to be anything major. It might be, right, this week I'm definitely going to start that Pilates class, or I'm going to get up earlier and have a bit of time for myself in the morning, or I'm going to have something healthy to eat for my lunch this week, or I'm definitely going to make time to go for a swim, or I'm going to paint my nails. If you've been following this week on Instagram, you'll see that this is one of the ways that I've been breaking promises to myself, but I've rectified it. So yeah, when it's other people, quite often we don't let them down. We don't break our promises. When it's us and we're kind of saying to ourselves, oh, this week I'm definitely going to do that this week. As soon as I finish this, I'm going to go and do that. I'm going to find time to do X this week for myself. That's where things tend to go wrong. And I wondered, like, if this was someone other than me constantly letting me down and making promises and then not fulfilling them, how long would I tolerate that for? Is that the kind of relationship that I would want to maintain and nurture, or would I start to think, this doesn't seem to be, like, I'm not a priority in their life. They don't really seem to care about how or whether my needs are being met, for example. But when it's us, I think a lot of the time we're just not aware of how many times we break our promises to ourselves. So here's a tip to try this week. I thought, instead of writing a to-do list and then just carrying it over to the next day, every day, same items, and then add some new ones, write an I promise list. And I'd say to keep it short, maybe write one thing on your I promise list each day and see what it's like to, first of all, to write it out. Does it make a difference that you're consciously writing down what you're going to do for yourself or what your promise to yourself is? I think it also makes it easier to remember. So it kind of increases our awareness that this is a promise that I'm making to myself, and it makes us more likely to remember it too, because we've written it down. And there's sort of an intention behind that. If we write it down, it feels like it's more likely to happen. Maybe we're feeling a bit more accountable to ourselves. Again, doesn't need to be anything huge. These promises, or that my I promise list doesn't have to contain loads of really massive things. It could be, I am going to have a cup of tea halfway through the morning. I'm just going to stop and give myself 5 minutes. Or I'm going to have some salad in my sandwich at lunchtime. It could be whatever feels doable for you, whatever feels like a reasonable ask. If it was somebody else asking you, or if it was something that you were doing for somebody else, would it seem like a reasonable ask? So it's not a complete overhaul of how things are, just starting to slowly make some minor adjustments to help you to keep your promises and build your trust in yourself. Then at the end of the week, see if you can, with compassion and curiosity, review how you've got on with your self-promises. And I've got 4 self-reflection prompts that you might like to incorporate into this. So first of all, what was it like to show up for yourself? Where was it easier to do that, or where was it harder? How do you feel about yourself after this week of noting down your promises? Has your self-confidence and trust in your abilities changed at all? That concludes this episode, but in recording this and making my notes, which is something I'm trying to stop doing actually, I'm trying to stop relying on having my notes, because I think that's quite undermining for my confidence. I kind of think, oh, I can only do it if I've written out 10 pages of notes before I record a video. So I've reduced my note writing, but that also means that now I've completely lost my thread. Yes, in preparing for this video, I've realised that I've got a lot more to say on this, and some, with retrospect, quite funny examples of where I've let myself down or how I've shrunk my own comfort zone and had to push myself out of it. So I might share some of those over the next couple of weeks on my social media. On Instagram, you can find me at menopause psychotherapist, all one word, or at Navigation for Living. If you have enjoyed this, or you think that somebody else you know might enjoy it or want to try some of these things, then please do follow and share this video. That's it for today. I hope you manage to keep some promises to yourself this week and that you build your confidence and trust in yourself. My promise for this week was to paint my nails, and I have done that. I won't show you my feet too, but I will. There you go. I've even painted my toenails. Have a good weekend, everybody, and I will see you next week.